Just getting yogurt right now. I haven't vlogged in a couple days. It's probably been like how many days since I vlogged? It's like Saturday. So I didn't vlog all day yesterday just because yesterday was my rest day from recital week. We have 2 weeks off until we go back. But I think we have a teacher's meeting this week. And I go back to work on Friday.
What day do I go back to school?
Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Are you excited to be an 8th grader?
But I'll take you.
I haven't vlogged in like 2 days. And reason for that is just because I'm really just trying to like enjoy my last couple days off before I go back to work and have to be super busy again. Like this summer, let me just backtrack. Let me go ahead and like lay down how my summer went. I seriously did not have a break whatsoever. I had, let's see, regular school year for work was ended on like June like 3rd, something like that. And then I had already started I started summer school, my first summer school session. And then while I was at that summer school session, I started my second summer school session. On top of that, I also had, I was working for summer school at a different site. So to say the least, I had everything back to back because my first summer school session ended, and then I still had like maybe 2 more weeks of work. And then I had, as soon as work ended, my second summer school session ended, and then week after that, which was last week, I had my recital. So we had practices every single day. And then just between after recital and now, I've just really wanted to enjoy myself. So I really have not been like vlogging too much. I've just been like MIA and just trying to enjoy myself. Let's see, what did I do after recital? Sunday I didn't really do much. We just used that day just to relax and stay home because I was so exhausted from recital week. Like my legs were hurting so much and my body was just strained. Monday, had to run a couple errands. I had to drive back to Riverside and do a couple things, and went to the gym. And then Tuesday we decided to go to the beach, and I got completely sunburned. I was cringing and crying while driving home because it hurt that much. I could not bear sitting down. I was just in a lot of pain. I still am in a lot of pain. My back is just like completely burnt, and that is partially my fault because I know how sensitive my skin is to the sun, and I am very light complexion. So I put sunblock on, but did not put enough on, and I went into the water and I came out and I dried myself off, but I didn't reapply sunblock, so I was severely burned. Like, I am burnt. Oh my god, it's all completely burnt. It is horrible. So I've just been like trying to recuperate and like take it easy. Tomorrow I go back to work, and I am so bummed out that this year, after what happened last year with the student that I worked with during the school year, he decided not to come back for reasons I will not state just because they are very personal, so I do not feel comfortable stating them. Therefore, they moved me sites, so now instead of working in a high school setting, I will be going to a middle school setting. Hours changed, students changed, and who I'm working with is like completely changing. Like everything is changing. I'm just like, I know they say change is good, but I'm just like really scared because it's like a whole new environment. I've never worked with these people that are there, so I really don't know how to like take it. All I've been doing is watching Grey's Anatomy, and on the episode that I was on, or the season, one of the things was, well, one of the patients, or I guess you could say doctor there, one of the main actors got cancer on the show, and I think that has secretly been one of my biggest fears. I witnessed I don't know how many family members go through it, and I think that's always been one of my biggest fears, is to see one of my loved ones go through that again, or even myself. I hate hospitals. I hate going in them. I hate being surrounded by them. I just hate going in them. I cringe every time I have to go for a doctor's appointment or anything. I try to like tough it out and be like, no, I'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'll just take some ibuprofen or something and I'll be good. I just hate hospitals. I hate being around doctors. I mean, I know they're there to help, but I think after seeing my family members in and out of hospitals, and then this past year, seeing my mom in the hospital, like, really took a toll on me. And this is a touchy subject, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it just because I feel like honesty is the best policy. So let's just backtrack on that. My mom has diabetes, and she hadn't been taking care of herself. So last year, the very beginning of last year, I remember this very vividly. It was right after New Year's. Actually, it was before New Year's. She was at work, and she had been complaining about her feet hurting. So she went home, and the doctor had told her that she needed to stay off her feet. And she went in and told her work that, and they refused to accept the doctor's note. The manager there did. So my mom pushed through it and continued working and stayed on her feet. And when she went in for her next doctor's appointment at the checkup, her foot was so swollen. It looked like the size of a football. Her foot was just entirely swollen. And I was with her that day, and she called me in and she told me that it was either they did surgery, regardless they were going to have to do surgery, but it was either they go ahead and do the surgery and figure out how in-depth this infection in her foot was, caused by the diabetes, and then her not really taking care of it, or they would amputate her foot. And I just remember walking in there and seeing her face just full of tears, and the only thing I could tell her was that everything was going to be okay. Excuse me. And I think that was that reassurance for her to just keep fighting. So she ended up having the surgery, and luckily she did not have to get anything amputated at that given time. She stayed in the hospital for a couple days. It was really hard having to, I've always had to like take care of everybody else. Since a very young age, I feel like I had to grow up really fast. And I've always had to take care of everybody else and be on top of everything and like take control. 7, and it's been a couple hours since the last time I was updating you guys and like talking about stuff. I was just like rambling on. So going back to that, so my mom was in the hospital. She went in January, and she was doing okay, and she ended up getting sick again, probably about mid-year, just for a routine checkup. So she was readmitted. By September, that was probably her worst month, and probably the month that I thought I was going to lose her. For 2 weeks, she was in the hospital, and she ended up getting the infection that she had in her foot, caused by the diabetes and her not really taking care of herself, ended up turning into gangrene. So it spread really fast, and the end result of that was that she had to get amputation. When I heard the news that she was getting that, I immediately wanted to break down, but I knew I couldn't because she was watching me. So I had to put a strong face on and tell her that everything was going to be okay. That my biggest thing was that I am a firm believer that God only gives you the battles that you can handle and that you can go through and fight. So I told her, I was like, we're going to get through this. There's nothing's going to go ahead and like stop you. So for 2 weeks, that was her longest hospital stay. Usually she would only stay for like a couple days, or throughout this past year. She was only staying like a couple days and stuff, so we were able to like handle that. But this was her longest stay, 2 weeks, and they had to do amputation. She had gangrene, I believe, on her left foot, and ended up getting 2 toes amputated on that, and recovery after that was horrific. She was wheelchair bound the entire year because of that foot, and then that infection ended up spreading to her right foot, and she had a toe amputated on that one. So she was wheelchair bound for almost the entire year, from January all the way up until like halfway of this year. And I was the one having to take care of her. She was wheelchair bound. She was dependent on medication for her infection to go ahead and clean it out, and she had a nurse come every day, if not once a week, once it started getting better, to go ahead and help alleviate that and clean her wounds. I had to learn how to clean the wounds, and I basically had to just like take care of her. It was hard. It was really, really hard. Like, a lot of people didn't know backstory of it, I guess you could say, because during that time of her long stay, I had just started dance year, I had just started work, I had just started back in school, so to have that happen all at once was a lot. It took a toll on me, a really big toll, and she never found out, and she still doesn't know to this day, that during those 2 weeks, I ended up having an anxiety attack at work and had to be sent home. I just broke down. I couldn't breathe. I started hyperventilating. I was shaking. I could not speak. It was really bad, just because I was so overwhelmed with everything. I was going back to school part-time, working full-time, and then I had this job that I currently have now at the district, and then I was still working part-time at Kmart, and I had just started teaching dance, and I was having my own practice. In the midst of all that, we had one of our big competitions that week, during those 2 weeks. So I had that same week that I had the breakdown at school was the same week I had another breakdown during competition, and I just could not bear it anymore. It was a lot to handle. This whole past year has been a roller coaster, I guess you could call it. I mean, I honestly look back and I don't know how I did it all, or how my mom even fought through it all. She is such a strong woman. I admire her so much through everything that she's been thrown at, that she can go ahead and still fight and continue on and still push through. So after those 2 weeks, she ended up coming home. Like I said, I was having to take care of her. I was basically having to play second mom all over again. Which, I mean, was difficult, but I knew I was up for the challenge, because I knew what I had to do. Because it wasn't only myself that I had to take care of, it was now my mother and my 2 younger siblings. So it was definitely tough. After that, after September, it was just basically, just a routine of everything. So it was just taking it day by day and taking care of her and just making sure she was okay, and that everything else was going okay. So in order for me to like really make amends, I guess you could say, with all that, and like clear my head, I would use the studio a lot, and I would make it a point to make sure I was at dance practice, and I didn't want people to see me break down. So I mean, I think that's the reason why I had those anxiety attacks, was because I just was so overwhelmed and I had so much on my plate, and I didn't know how I was doing this, or why. I didn't question why these things happened, but I questioned more the fact of, how am I still doing this? Like, I'm just so overwhelmed, and I didn't know what else to do. I'm the type of person who doesn't like to ask for help. People could tell me, oh, we'll be there for you if you need anything, yada, yada, yada. But I don't like to take that kind of help, especially for matters like that, just because I feel like, in a sense, I'm taking advantage of them. So I want to be able to do all that on my own. So I mean, it was just really hard. She came home, took care of her, and I mean, now she's doing amazing. She's walking, she's off her medication. She's just a completely different person, and it's sad to say, but I think her being in and out of that hospital for the entire year, and then that stay, I think really made her realize her priorities and that she needs to take care of herself. I mean, my siblings and I are grown. We can take care of ourselves, but it was time for her to take care of herself. Going back to that same week that I had anxiety attacks, I think the root of all that was not only because I had so much on my plate, but because I think it was a couple of days after competition. I walked in there and she was out cold turkey. She wasn't breathing. There was all these nurses in there trying to put all these tubes and poke her and all these things. And I'm sitting there trying to get her to respond to me, and she was not answering me. So I think that was one of the, I think that was the turning point in when I realized that I almost lost her. And it made me realize that I mean, I've always said to like cherish every moment and things like that, but I think that was an actual turning point for our family. Was that seeing my mom in the hospital and seeing her at her lowest, and it made me realize that what if she doesn't make it? Like, I seriously thought she was not going to make it because she was so not herself. And I mean, I even, after the nurses are gone and they try to stabilize her, I even tried calling for her name and she was not responding to me. It was like a completely different person I was watching there. She looked like a vegetable. At one point she did look like a vegetable. So it was really scary. But now looking back, I praise her for being such a strong woman and fighting to get better and take care of herself. So time went on and she did a lot better. So she just had routine checkups and things like that. She had a couple more like just checkups, just like them cleaning her foot out, the doctors cleaning her foot out, and just helping her, like kind of like therapy in a sense, so that she can get her walking back and things like that. So I mean, it's been a long progress. It's been such a long journey to like have her get better and heal and stuff. So I'm very grateful for her still being here and her still fighting and making her little jokes and gestures and stuff that she's always made, because that's the woman I know. That's the mom I know. So it was good to have her back and be back to her normal domain, I guess you can say. So it's been a couple months since that. A couple months passed and she's off her wheelchair, she's off her meds, like I said earlier. So I mean, I'm very grateful for her. But I mean, I still think about that moment because it was such a surreal moment and something that I never wanted to happen. That's all. Like I said earlier, that's always been one of my biggest fears, is having one of my family members, especially my mom. I think that's always my biggest fear, is seeing her in the hospital and just seeing her in that hospital bed so weak and so defenseless, and she couldn't do anything. She couldn't fend for herself. So I see her and I just am so grateful that, and so appreciative that she made it through that, because that infection could have got so bad and it could have gotten worse, and she could have lost both her feet, if anything. I don't talk about it much. I don't like to remind myself of. I feel like the past is the past and that's where it should stay. I mean, you should remember where you came from and acknowledge that that's what made you who you are, and those events happen for a reason. But I also think that we should move on from that and live in the now. And that's what I try to tell like a lot of my friends, and like when they come and ask me for advice, or like when my students or my dancers come and like ask me for help, even my peers or anything, I try to let them know that not everything is forever. Your problems that you have are just temporary. You'll make it through. So just remember that. I mean, I probably stated this in another vlog or so, but it's something that I constantly think about, just because that's my little self-motivation that I give myself. So keep fighting, keep going, be like Dory and keep swimming. You can do whatever your little heart desires. You will succeed, you will triumph, you will get through whatever you're going through, trust me. So with that being said, I am now officially ending the vlog, and I hope you guys have been enjoying my videos as much as I've been enjoying creating them and editing them. So good night, guys. Hey guys, so I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys an update on how my first day back to work went. It's pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie. There was no students there today. It was just a staff goes back to work day, I guess you can call it. And I walked into the school and didn't know where I was going, so somehow I ended up in the cafeteria, and they were having a like new teachers meeting, and I was like, skirt. I had to like do a U-turn and like go. I completely missed the office, and then I got to the office, and I don't think they realized that I was like completely new. The aide I saw today, I worked with him at my very first job site, so that was nice to walk in there and see a familiar face, because I do not know anybody there. It's a completely new school, completely new students, completely new office staff, everything. When they were all really nice, so that was good. They were really welcoming and stuff. So I knew him, so I know he's gonna be one of the SAAs. And then I met the instructional aide and the teacher. There's only one teacher and 2 instructional aides, and then including myself, I think there's like 3 SAAs. So that's it. The class is really small. It's only 15 kids, 8 8th graders and 7 7th graders. How ironic is that? But that's it. It looks promising as far as the staff and the teacher that I'm wanting to work with, and the classroom that I'm in. It's a functional skills program, so it's a mixture of students. So hi Cuddles! Cuddles! Hi baby! Oi, hi babies! Cuddles! Hi Cuddles! Hi Cuddles! Hi Cuddles! Go potty!
Come on.
So
Let's go.
the classroom that I'm in has their own washer and dryer, their own little like kitchen cooking area, their own like little science area, their set of computers, their desks, their own restroom in there. Because of the job I do have to help some of the students use the restroom, so that was very convenient that that's in there and I don't have to walk out. They have their own like little seating area to watch movies, and then they have like their little not time out, but like a cool-off space. And then the teacher has this desk and all the cubbies and stuff, so it was a pretty good sized classroom. Hi Mama.
Hi. Did you want some more, Christopher?
No. Thank you.
She took a Tylenol PM, and I don't know how many times she's taking it, and every time it knocks her out, and she knows she's not supposed to take them. Right, Henry?
What the heck? Yeah.
Bruh, I just like held her breath and she's not even waking up. It's like hooking a bear. Sister. She hasn't even left and she's still not even paying attention to me. Sister, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. I'm gonna miss you. I love you.